This video will go over one of many responsibilities of being new plant dad: potting propagation plants, repotting plants into a bigger container, and for me, decorating the top portion of the soil to give it that polished look. First step was getting potting soil and having a container for easy accessibility. I'm using one of my existing pots since I don't have a designated container for my soil yet. I would also say be careful not to spill, but that's inevitable and the dirt will find its way around your station anyways. I then added some perlite to the mix. Perlite helps improve drainage and to ensure water drains freely. I made the mistake of not adding perlite to my first repotting and the soil started to grow mold, so I would say this is an important ingredient to the mix. Start mixing the pot with your hands until it starts to look like some crushed Oreo mix. First, I wanted to pot some of my propagation cuttings. For this, I cut my Pothos plant and left it in a mason jar with water. I left it next to my window to get some natural light, but not direct light because that would essentially burn your leaves. For about a week or two, you'll notice roots coming out from the stem, and that's a good indication that you could put them in soil. You also have the option to leave them in water and the plant will still continue to grow. Second, I slowly and carefully removed my plant from its pot. Make sure the soil is dry so it doesn't have a muddy consistency. I would suggest to repot right before you know you have to water your plant again. Begin to massage the soil, but be very careful by being too aggressive because you may pull or damage the roots. Thoroughly massage until you're satisfied with how much soil you remove. Grab your cuttings, remove them from the vessel, and put them to the side for better access. I decided to repurpose the same container because the roots were not growing through the drainage hole at the bottom. Scoop some of the newest soil up, but not too much, just enough to cover a quarter of the container. Remove some of the soil if needed. Also, press on the soil and make it more compact and create a crater in the middle to set your plant. I inserted the main stem back and started to arrange along with my propagation cuttings. I made sure that the roots were all below the tip of the container so that they could all be submerged under the soil. I kept rearranging until it looked quote-unquote full, but I did wish I had more cuttings to really stuff and infill the whole pot. But for now, I'll make use with what I have and add more once I have to repot it into a new container. Once I liked the positioning of the stems, I started to pour in the old soil. This is where it gets more messy because there's really no accuracy when you're pouring back in. Part some of the stems to give yourself some room, and then press down onto the soil to compress the soil even further. After I was finished, I brought my pothos to the bathroom sink and I went ahead and watered it down. I used a cup because I wanted control over how much water to pour in and because my sink has a high water pressure. Begin to rotate the container so you get the whole area. Water until you see water seeping through the drainage hole, and you'll also notice that the soil beginning to sink. Back to my station, I started to infill with more of the oiled soil. Pour, compress, and rotate. Keep with these steps until the soil reaches the tip of the container and submerging all of the roots underneath. With one extra and final step, I brushed off some of the residual soil that got stuck onto the leaves and stem. This isn't really necessary, but it's a good step if you want to make it more presentable after repotting. Brush towards the container so that you don't waste and throw away valuable soil. And then you're done with repotting your plant. My next project was to repot my fiddle into a bigger pot. And I won't bore you with another step-by-step process, but here are a few clips with one extra step I added to the end, which was adding a layer of rocks onto the top of the soil to give it that final and finished look. But just to reiterate the most important steps, be careful when you remove and massage the soil, add perlite to the mix, and compress the added soil down, and then you could water. At my local nursery, I bought these decorative pebbles. They had a few that ranged in size and color, but I chose this because of its pebble size and it's for its soft green tone. I poured in a layer on top, making sure it was covering the dirt, spreading and adding more pebbles when needed. I also bought these plant stands from IKEA when they came back in stock, and they were only $13 each. I bought two just in case, and I really love them for the simplicity and its clean and thin lines. They were also easy to assemble with 2 screws and ready within minutes. These also fit perfectly into small spaces while still elevating the height of my plant. I placed my fiddle back next to my mirror and chair and rotated it so I don't hit it when I'm sitting down. Thanks for watching my Plant Dad Responsibilities video, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to comment below. Also, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button as it will help out my channel. I'll also be more frequent with posting this year. But for now, peace out and work it out.